Welcome live to the Racecraft S5000 official series tonight live, round 1, Catalonia. We are here at the circuit. We've just seen Formula 1 race in the last weekend and kicking off a brand new series tonight. I'm here with Dave Roberts and it is open wheeler action on Racestars TV. Big thanks to FRG Formula Racing Group and also big thanks to Motorsport Australia as we go live here for the first time in this brand new series. Welcome, Dave. How are you feeling about tonight's racing?
I am excited. This is as fast as you can get out of iRacing. It is really the ultimate series, and we're emulating S5000 in Australia, which is a series I absolutely love watching. Big engines, big noise, fast cars, absolutely fantastic. And we've got some really young and some really cool fast Australian guys in these cars tonight, and it is going to be mega. And I see right now we've got young Damon Woods, who's a young Victorian Formula Ford racer, and he has streeted the field by nearly 0.3 of a second in qualifying so far, which is a sensational performance.
Everywhere you look at the moment, we're seeing this Damon Woods on top of the timing screens in different series, different makes of cars. He's quick in the real world, he's quick in the sim, but yeah, and once again he set a benchmark tonight, nearly, what is it, 1/4 of a second faster than the rest of the field.
And when you're talking about competitors like Tim Delisle and Julian Dunn, who are, for all intents and purposes, professional sim racers, that is a fantastic effort from a young Formula Ford racer. I mean, I think Damon deserves some real kudos for that. That's just fabulous to see.
Now we're just into the final minute of qualifying. We go straight into a 2-race format tonight, a sprint race, and then well, they're both sprint races, one shorter than the other, and I presume a progressive grid based off our qualifying and then race result for race 1. Well, it was such a successful week last week with Formula Ford, and it's great to see. It's almost a rolling week by week, different series as they rotate through, and we go from Formula Ford cars to these quite a bit quicker around a circuit. A lot more aero as well, and they're moving around, they're dancing around these cars. I'm enjoying the fact that the cars, as we see one spin off the track, Wayne Burke, I'm enjoying the fact that they are wiggling and the drivers are having to drive these cars.
Yeah, mate, I went and took one out during the week at Barcelona here and had a bit of a run. I will say I wouldn't have been last on the grid, which is a good thing. But they're a handful, and it just felt so Formula One like. And I said to the boys, I actually felt a little like Sonoda out there racing around. They are full on, super fast. The other thing is they've got a real strategic element to them because they've got a DRS system or a push to pass, if you'd like to call it that. It's a DRS system that's limited to eight activations during the race. So you only get 8, unlike F1, which you can do it every lap. These guys only get 8 during the course of the race.
Nice one. Well, Damon Woods is on pole position tonight for race 1. Joshua Stewart will start alongside him on the second row. Delisle, I think. How do you say that name, Dave? You can know it. Delisle. It is. Sorry, Tim Delisle. Starting alongside Olsen, so that's second row. Julian Dunn, good to see him make a return as well into this series. P5, he'll be quick tonight. Jason Sieg, it's P6. Edmonds and McGetz will round out the top 8, and then Shane Russell also back with Eddie Bestwick as we flick through. Dylan Burst said just outside the top 10 tonight. There are some quick races in this grid of cars. Who's your pick? Do you think Damon Woods will just streak off into the distance, or will he have a bit of challenge from behind?
Well, if you look at pre-qualifying times to get into the series, Julian Dunn is a class act. But Julian Dunn and Tim Delisle should really be the class of the field. That's why I'm so surprised to see Damon do such a great job. And also in there is Eddie Beswick, who's another Australian Formula Ford racer, who's a real world racer, who's there in the top 10. Another great effort.
Fantastic. We'll get rid of the music. We'll get ready to hear some cars. So it's a 15-minute race tonight. The countdown clock is already going, but that will reset once we get a green light and get underway. So you can just see it counting down now as we're waiting for Julian Dunn to be the last person, and Wayne Burke as well, to line up onto the grid. But you know, turn 1 here, you can see it's a long straightaway. It dips down. It's a downhill braking zone, and it's going to take a little bit of patience, I think. I mean, opening series, opening round, I always get nervous thinking, all right, who's going to put a foot wrong? Let's hope there's no one that takes out half the field. You've got such a competitive nature in the midfield there as well. Dylan Burst back. Rob Bowden's in P14. Crespo's been fast as well. The revs rise. We get set to go racing for round number 1 of this S5000 series. And there is your start. Bit slower, and there's a slow car that's stalled on the grid. It might have been, was it Julian Dunn that stalled on the grid? We got a big crash in the background, unfortunately. 3, 4, 5 cars involved in this. Not the way we wanted to start. We've got a huge racing incident, and I think it may have been Julian Dunn that stalled on the grid.
These things are hard to get off the line. Most of the guys are using a dual hand clutch where they let go one and then add for a bike. But it's hard. They really should be out there practicing starts as well. Very unusual, but a great start there from Joshua Stewart, and he's jumped Damon Woods down into turn 1. But I'm sort of expecting to hear those vocal cords of Roo calling safety car any moment.
I haven't heard anything yet. Just trying to confirm who it was that dropped back at the start. You might be able to get a replay off screen there as they're still fighting back in the pack. Some Getz and Hides here up the hill. We jump on board for the first time tonight with Caleb Hides, and fast turn here as you trust all the downforce and also the mechanical grip. Red flag, says someone over on YouTube. I don't think they're going to red flag this one, but we are maybe expecting a safety car. Did they clear the grid? That's the thing. They're coming around to the final couple of corners now, and we'll find out shortly if anyone's still left on the grid.
And I can confirm it was Julian Dunn that failed to get off the line, and Julian's a real pro, and he's done this a lot of times. I don't know what went on there. He would be devastated for that.
For sure, and Joshua Stewart capitalises by taking a position. Lap 1 run and done, and Damon Woods heads up the hill. Greg Olsen behind him, and then it's Dalal. Everyone just streaming through, getting into a rhythm now. What I'm hearing across different chat comments and different forums we've got going on in the background here is that these cars are very hard. The back end of them very twitchy on cold tyres, and obviously you've got a lot of aero, but when they let go, they let go.
Yeah, they're not a car you can drive sideways. They're a bit like a go-kart. When it's gone, it's gone. And they are huge horsepower, cold tyres. Takes them about 2-3 laps to warm them up, but yeah, we'll see how they go. There's Dylan Bursmer on board there with now. I mean, you'll see now as he comes up here, it's a pretty twitchy car. So you can see he's very, very quick on having to be very, very quick on the steering. But it'd be interesting to see as they start to get close. So you'll see Dylan pull up on the guy in front. Then he may use his push to pass or his DRS. Will the guy in front use it to fend him off or not? And then if he doesn't, do you hold that instead? How many do you use? Do you keep them till the end? It's a real strategic element, this DRS that they're using. And only, as I said, 8 uses, and they'll all be using it down that front straight.
And Dylan Burst capitalised on the start. He's already up 5 spots into the top 6. A couple of drivers at the back. Wayne Burke up 15 into 13. Christopher Ireland as well has made up 10 spots. Anthony Mazzocca from the back up 17 into the top 15. So he's also capitalised on a good start. Those that got caught up in the action was Andre Youssef, Luke Fitt, Crespo. Those guys in particular really got hurt by that calamity at the start.
Yeah, I see Phil Valla back there in 19th. Phil's very, very quick in these cars. He's a DFR team driver. Be surprised if he's not going to come up through. Did he get caught up in that opening lap? I'm not sure. This is a sprint race. We've got a 15-minute sprint race, and later after this, we've got a 50-minute main event. This 15-minute sprint race, at the end of this, where they finish is where they'll start the feature. So I think you'll find people like Josh Stewart, Damon Woods, Olsen, Tim Delisle, they're all just sitting there and saying, this doesn't count for a lot. It's half points. Mate, all I've got to do is finish in position, and then come the main races where the big points are, and you've got a lot longer event you can really work on. So they're being smart, playing the safety card and making sure that they're booking a spot at the front end of the grid for the main event.
Yeah, well, that's right. And we're riding on board with Dylan Burst now, just out of the throttle down the straight there. You can hear he's saving some fuel. He's definitely not full throttle there unless it's maxed out, but the car in front just pulling away, so he's just giving himself some space. And he's got Shane Russell next behind him. Some great looking liveries out there for this first round, and then Julian Dunn in that Altus eSports car, looking fantastic, trying to just, I guess, claw his way back. He'll be kicking himself. We don't know really what happened at the start. Was it too much wheel spin? Or did he bog down? It almost looked like he bogged down.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure whether he bogged down, what happened. I mean, who knows? Whatever happened, happened. It's over now. Put in the bag and leave him behind. So, he'll be looking at trying to get himself a couple of spots up the road if he can. Russell bursts. Russell's just popped past Burster. They're off the road, and that's Julian Dunn in the fence.
There's been an incident down there, and both of them have gone off the track. We'll see if we can't just grab a quick replay on this. So there's Julian Dunn from the high shot. Did he get up on the sausage curb or lose the back end here?
No.
There's already a car off the track there, and coming back on is a bad rejoin. So that was a terrible rejoin by, was that Dylan Burst coming back onto the track?
Yes, I think it was. I think that was Dylan Burst. He's gone off the road and come back onto the road, and now we've got Julian Dunn heading for the pits.
So he chose to go across onto the grass, obviously to get out of the way of a couple of drivers, and then he stuck it straight in front of Julian Dunn and nowhere to go.
I think he just lost the rear end coming out of that little left-right flick, unfortunately. But look, the night's not over for these guys. Even if they finish back, there's a 50-minute main event. They can, Julian's got all the speed in the world to be able to get himself back to the front. So, I think it's made tonight even a little more exciting, Luke.
And we've got a couple of webcams tonight. I'm just multitasking here as I quickly look up Damien Cairns, who's 27th, back towards the rear field, but slowly making his way through. And
Shaka, man.
He was a late entry, was he, tonight? Just snuck in?
Yeah, we had a withdrawal from the series late this afternoon or last night. And so Damien was first reserve, and he jumped in with about an hour to spare. And, mate, I think that's fantastic because Damien's a great competitor. Really, really good attitude in motor racing, and he's just out there having fun. But I'm really disappointed they haven't got a Shaka tonight, have we?
Not yet, but he's been pretty busy because he's just been overtaken there. He's
a bit too busy in this thing.
Yeah, that's it. Got a fair bit of work to do, and Scotty Barshan as well has given us a chance to have his on board. How's he doing tonight? He's somewhere along there he is, P22, so also up 9 positions as he works away. He said there was something wrong with the colours last week. No idea what's up with the colours.
No,
looks pretty good to me.
It was fine on mine.
No idea. So anyway, that's the feed they give us, so we replicate that, put up on the screen. Good to see they're running this layout too, which is pretty much identical to what F1 ran over the weekend. I tell you what, I was so excited to see the final few corners back how they should have always been.
Yeah, this was my doing this layout, so I'll take credit for that because I hated that last chicane. And as soon as F1 announced that they were using the original format of the last couple of corners, but it's not just that. This turn 10 that they're in at the moment, that's also exactly the same as F1. So when I drove it during the week, I went, this is exactly what they were driving on the weekend. And it's much, much better, got much better flow. I hated that last little chicane. I think it ruined the circuit, as so many great circuits have been ruined by nasty little chicanes. But this one in particular, now it's great to see it back the way it was. And got to give credit to Motorsport Australia. They came to FRG late last year and talked about wanting to do some things. This is a genuine Australian national championship for eSports runners. So the guy who wins this will be crowned Australian National S5000 eSeries champion at the Motorsport Australia Awards in Melbourne. That's a serious notch on your CV as a race driver, and it's great to see young guys like Damon Woods and Eddie Beswick out there who are real world drivers trying to make a bit of a name for themselves in the E-Series, and there's no reason this shouldn't possibly lead to someone like Damon Woods getting an opportunity at least to do a test in an S5000. I'm going to have to ring Gary Rogers, aren't I?
Can I have one too? Can I have a go?
Mate, it's well beyond me. I think I'll stay out of that. I'm too old now.
Well, I know they're big speed. I was talking to, I can't remember who it was, someone a while ago that tested one at Phillip Island, and huge speed down the front straightaway.
Yeah, big speed and quite hard tyres, so they are a bit of a handful, and they can be quite a bit of a handful on cold tyres, which is exactly like this is. And when we looked at statistics into cars, I mean, this is the FR 3.5 in iRacing, but the weight, the size, the horsepower, both V8s, the big difference is this one revs a lot harder than the Australian S5000. But very, very, very similar cars. And S5000 now has a push-to-pass system which gives them a limited number exactly like this, which I think is so much better system than S5000. Now, I see somebody just gone off in the very, very last corner.
Island, I think it was. Christopher Island. Oh, he's got some damage.
That's not looking pretty.
He's just going to creep his way back onto the circuit there. Yeah, I know in our overlay telemetry here, there was an option to put up push to pass, but it's not registering, so we can't. I might ask the guys over at SDK if we can get that to actually, pop up and tell us when they are using the push to pass. It may be something that only works in the car. But Joshua Stewart was just running some alternate lines there. The gap's back down to 0.5 of a second to Damon Woods and Greg Olsen. It's good to see the teammates there. Greg Olsen and Tim Dalal have been running head and toe, just working together, most likely, just talking to each other. There's no, racing each other. There's no wheel-to-wheel banging. It's all at the moment just, flying in formation, probably waiting for this last couple of minutes to attack.
Yeah, there seems to have been an issue in pit lane earlier in the race where, I'm hearing in the background that I think Jay Dixon's ended up upside down in the pit lane, so I don't quite know what happened there, but we might hear that little story a bit later.
Okay. So we're down to the last 3 minutes now. So time certain. The lap 9 and 15 means nothing. It's all about who's going to take the flag after the 15 minutes has elapsed. So watch that countdown. You might notice, Dave, I modified that to be counting down for tonight.
Thank you, Roo.
Thank you, Luke. That's awesome. You're very welcome. So 2.5 minutes to go here. It looks like Joshua Stewart has it in control because he's just opened another 2/10 out on this lap. And, that's good. He got the jump at the start of the race and he hasn't looked back. He obviously didn't have the ultimate qualifying pace, but race pace looking great.
There's very little between all these guys in race pace. They're all within hundredths or thousandths of a second. I saw in practice there that I think Tim Dalal was fastest and Damon Woods was second, and his 0.001 was the difference between the two fastest guys. So, it's very, very hard when you're that close to make it past. You're really relying on somebody to make a mistake. And I've got to say, Joshua Stewart has done a beautiful drive so far. He has not put a foot wrong. They're running nose to tail. They're pretty close. Very, very much class act at the front. They've all sort of been sitting in line astern there, looking after each other and not making any silly moves because there's a lot of racing to go tonight.
Yeah, these four have really pulled away, haven't they? And I just thought for a second there that Tim may have been trying to put a move on his teammate Greg. They got very close down the pit straight, and I'll tell you what, Damon Woods is starting to apply the screws here as well. Now, once again, the power of the toe so strong in these cars, and he got within a couple of tenths down the pit straight, but then straight away out to half a second again. The aero wash probably equally as strong as the toe is it in these things. They're obviously putting out a big ripple of air behind them, and Damon just through this tight twisty section once again it pushes out to around that 7/10 mark.
Yeah, I've got to say I love Damon Woods' livery. That looks absolutely fabulous, that car there on screen now. eSports, which is an international esports team that he's part of, which is well worthy of his abilities. And then we've got Greg Olsen there in third. I mean, Greg's not far away from Damon. They're all very, very close together. But I feel like they're all showing respect to each other and saying, guys, we'll just finish this race and then we'll go racing. We'll wait and see. And nobody's making a pit stop in this one. They'll make a pit stop in the feature race because 50 minutes. They'll need to do a refuel. So that will bring another tactical element into the main feature race. So it's trying to mix things up a little bit here. And we've got Shane Russell off the road, and that shows how hard they are to get them around the roadway and get them going again. So he's one of the DFR crew, Downforce Racing. You'll see that sort of livery across the green and purple car. So Josh Stewart's another Downforce guy. And they're a crew of guys that have a lot of fun. They absolutely love this car. This is their favourite car. And it's understandable if anybody out there is, got a subscription to iRacing and looking for some fun and a real challenge, go and buy this car and give it a go, because it's a fabulous thing to drive.
Well, we're coming around towards the checker flag, final lap of this first opening sprint race, and Joshua Stewart has it all in control. Greg Olsen was the quickest of anyone on the previous lap. A shout out to Christopher Mitchell, who's watching along tonight as well. G'day, Chris, as we see Joshua come around the final corner to take the checker flag. Race number 1 winner for the first round on the first race of this S5000 series. So congratulations to him. Damon Woods gets P2, and rounding out your top 3, it's Greg Olsen. So fantastic. I mean, after we got out of that big crash at the start of the race, once we got beyond that point, that was some pretty decent racing, and obviously the jitters, the nerves of the opening round are now behind them.
I'd love to know what happened there for Julian Dunn on the line, because that's very, very unlike him. He's an absolute class act, and it'd be very interesting to know what happened.
We'll get a look at it now. I'm just going to quickly find.
Can we go on board?
We'll just slow this down for a second whilst we'll try and find where Julian is. Here he is here. Okay, so let's just jump on board, and then we'll go back to full speed here and see what happens. So yeah, it's like he was
in neutral.
Was he in neutral? Was he
in neutral? If you go and have a look, he's got an N on his dashboard, so he was sitting in neutral. He wasn't in gear. See it sitting in neutral.
Yep, and then just watch what happens. You get the green light, we'll go straight to the overhead, and it was carnage behind. So first, there was contact straight away, but then watch what happens behind. It's just it's like crash up derbies in the background there, unfortunately, and some big names caught out in that opening crash. So not what you want to see at the start of a race, but oh well.
Better for them to get that out of the system in the heat race, and they've all got a chance to come back in the long distance feature race. 50 minutes of racing, it's a long time in this car. Plenty of time for people to make mistakes and people to gain some positions. So let's see how they go.
5-minute warm-up while we go straight to the results now from race number 1. And your winner, Josh Stewart, there by 0.6 of a second over Damon Woods, Greg Olsen. A couple of names in there, Shane Russell and Julian Dunn, both had misfortune in that race, finished 9th and 10th. Eddie Bestwich as well. Burke got up a lot of spots, didn't he? Up to 14th. He was down the rear of field, and Mazoka as well, up into 16th. And he made some great gains throughout race 1 too, but it won't be long before we get into the second race. So a quick chance for a break now. We're going to play a quick Racecraft ad, and we'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so thanks Racecraft, fantastic rigs. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. Support a fantastic Australian company that supports sim racing and gets behind a lot of our series, and a big thanks to them as we hit the warm-up phase. I'm just reading a few comments. Someone saying, why are there no team names in this series? And no idea. That's because I think the drivers have yet to go across and fill out their profiles in SDK driver profile app, which they've all been asked to do. So hopefully next week or next time we go out racing in S5000, they'll have their team names added. But like I said, it's only a 3-minute now countdown to go in the warm-up before the 50-minute race. And do you know, is fuel decided? Will everyone start with a full tank of fuel, Dave?
No, I think they've got a limited tank of fuel as per usual, so the fuel tank is restricted in size. So unless they get like 3 yellow flags or something, it's probably not going to make it for the whole whole race, so they're definitely going to have to take a pit stop. As to when, I'm not quite sure, and whether you do that early or whether you do that late, I would be looking at where I am on the road. If I've got somebody in front of me that's holding me up, I'd be hitting the pits, looking for some clean air that I can get some fast laps in and try and make a pass in the pit lane effectively. If I've got clear road ahead, then I'm going to put my head down and go for it and use as much fuel as possible, get the car as light as possible to do as fast a lap as possible to make the break to get the overcut, and pit late and hopefully make a gain over the other guys. So you'll see them strategically trying to use that pit, where they pit, depending on where they are on the road and where they are in traffic.
Very good. Okay, so it'll be nice to have a pit stop and a bit of that strategy involved. I don't think Sher's watching tonight, but hello Sher, if you're out there. Our pit stop strategy board is ready to go as well. And big thanks to, once again, Lockie Capel, Ty Ratcliffe and Rue, who is the maestro over there in the stewards room. I mean, what will they be doing with that incident at the start of race one? Will that be a process they just go, hey, let's shelve that and look at that after the race? There's too much to divulge in that first, or in the next 5 minutes.
Well, what happens is, because you've got a 15-minute heat race or a sprint race, it is unfair. You have to penalise everybody equally for every event that happens. Otherwise, if you give somebody a drive-through and the other one you say, oh, we'll look at that afterwards, they'll get an advantage because it's a progressive grid. They get an advantage on the grid.
Right.
So it is just purely time penalties in the sprint race. So they will grid up however they finish. But if there's an issue, it can be applied after the finish of the feature race. So the penalties are also progressive. So if you've done something very nasty in the sprint race and got a drive-through or something, that may be applied after the finish of the feature race. So I'm not quite sure where we are with that at the moment. We'll wait and see. But that was a pretty hectic start to the series. Hopefully it gets cleaner from there. We can see here, right on screen right now, you can see Damon Woods doing a couple of practice starts. So he's getting smart. He's trying to work out how do I get this off the line and how do I beat Joshua down to turn one.
I like seeing that. I like when they do their practice starts. It's as you can see with Julian. I'm not saying it was, it was a mistake from Julian, but it's so easy to mess up your start if you don't practice them every now and then. And I reckon you're going to see Damon Woods hot out of the blocks here after a couple of those practice starts. Let's go to the grid for race number 2, and this is how we'll start. Joshua Stewart will start off the front row with Damon Woods again. On the second row, it will be Greg Olsen and Tim Delisle there. Jason Sieg and Nicholas Bradford off the third row. Bailey Evans and Reese McGass out of the top 8 with Julian Dunn. Take 2 out of 9th with Shane Russell alongside him. So a good top 10 from fast races, and outside the top 10 once again. You've got some great competitors looking to come through, looking to improve like they did in race 1. Wayne Burke, Mazoka, for example, they'll continue to push forward. What can Kanitska do out of 22? What can some of the guys like Ireland, Wally Jansen and Dylan Burst right at the back of the grid, can they make amends for what happened in race 1? We'll find out shortly. So we hold our breath, we get set for a start here, and we hope we don't see what we saw in race 1. Let's turn up the sounds of these fantastic cars as we replicate the S5000 series tonight. We get ready to go green for race number 2. And there we go, we get away pretty good. Woods' practice didn't help him. He's gone backwards off the start. Joshua Stewart made an absolute ripper. Woods has dropped back to P7 now as he falls right down the order and into the braking zone for turn number 1. It's Stewart out in front. Behind him, there's positions being changed. 2 by 2 up the hill they go. And all so clean. Yep, we got through there. Oh, just I said that. There was some contact. 2 cars off the track in the background. And I jinxed it right at the last second there, Dave. We almost got through with a clean start.
Yeah, and the one to watch there is Julian Dunn. He's gone from 9th to 4th in the first corner.
Yeah,
he's an impressive
flying,
start.
isn't he? He's absolutely flying, and he'd be kicking himself from race 1, and he's done the best thing that you can do and make a blitzing start in race 2, and straight away he'd be on the front foot. He'd be confident now He's got past a couple of quick drivers there, and he can see only 3 in front to try and get into the top position. And we've seen him lead and win these open wheeler races.
Like I said, it got more exciting when Julian's back down the grid. Yeah, look, Damon Woods, he's obviously going to spend this one. Nobody's going to spend next week doing his practice starts and that's S5000. But yeah, look, he's still there in 6th place. He's got the speed, he's got the pace. He hasn't ruined his race. Look at Julian here, putting major pressure on Tim Delisle. These are two of the classiest guys in Australian E-Series racing. Both pros, absolute pros, and you got them going wheel to wheel, side by side in the best car there. And there's Julian going round the outside. Oh, he's gone wide, and Delisle's back through, and we're going to have more. Damon Woods is now looking to get through there as well, and you've got Jason Siag going through. He's faster than anybody realises as well.
Oh, 3 wide.
3 wide down there. How good is it? I think they're driving Formula Fords, not bloody S5000s. This is fabulous.
You saw how much momentum. Oh, he's sideways. There's a car behind. There's contact, and he got through there, but it was...
Damon Woods has taken advantage of it and popped off Siag, and he's jumping onto the back of Dunn. So now we've got Woods back up to 5th, Dunn in 4th, Delisle sitting in 3rd, and Stewart and Olsen are having a very, very nice little run out front.
And look at Wayne Burke, already up 5 spots into 9, so he's inside the top 10. Remember, he started, I think it was down in around 27th place or 28th at the start of the evening, so he's progressed beautifully.
That's some real class driving, to drive through a absolute quality field like this and to get yourself up to 9th place from the back of the grid is some superb driving.
Wow. And
Eddie Beswick sitting there in 12th. Rob Bowden, another class act. We've seen him in F3. He's a quiet achiever. The BHP of E-Series is, you know, Rob, the quiet achiever, will just pop up at the end of the day and you go, where did he come from?
Yeah.
We see Will Ryan there and also Shane Russell both off the road in that last sector. Now, Shane Russell's got some issues. He's getting it going, but that's a fast double right-hander. I think that they had their issue in there.
We got more incidents going on there. There's cars off the track. It might be Cairns. One of them? No, Cairns got through.
And Mort.
Griffiths and Mort, and I think Crespo as well, going slow as he gets it back up. I love that livery, but yeah, I think he's come a croppers down there as well. I just want to go back to the top for a minute because it's quite spread out. This is Joshua Stewart, once again, fast out of the blocks. He's leading this one by over a second now. Olsen in behind, then Tim Delisle and Julian Dunn. The top 4 separated by almost 4 seconds in what is lap 3, so quite a huge field spread already.
Yeah, I think once you get past the first 4, if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, then you've got this little group here, which is Evans, Bradford, and Burke, and they're all over each other.
Yeah, this is really tight racing here.
For a bit. This looks good.
Well, this is Wayne. This is Wayne Burke on the back of this. I'm going to jump on board with Wayne because he's grabbing a great slipstream. He'll get a double toe here onto the pit straightaway, and I wouldn't be surprised if he can't get right onto the back of Bradford. Maybe even dive around and get Evans as well. They seem to run out of puff halfway down this straight.
Well, I think this may be what we're seeing is people. So I'm guessing there that Bradford has probably used one of his push to pass there to get up beside him,
right? And
that's why we've seen Burke sitting there not using it because he really wasn't going to get past both of them. So he's waiting for one of these to become a lone wolf where they're lacking a bit of aero help from the car in front. Then he'll jump on them. But mate, he's got to watch his back because he's got Caleb Hydes, who is a super quick driver right on his tail, and you got Rob Bowden sitting there behind the maestro. I call it. He's like the Alain Prost of sim racing. Rob Bowden is. He's like the professor back there, looking for a way to work his way to the front.
He is. He's right there, and they're just regaining a bit of confidence as Dylan Burst has gone off the track. I think involved with a crash with maybe Shane Russell or someone else has gone. No, it was Dylan Burst, I think maybe, and Jacob Mabry coming together at the back of the field. But we'll stay with this action as Rob Bowden closes right in onto the back of Caleb Hydes. He might be sniffing at an overtake come the end of this straight. Here we go. He's attacking the curbs. I tell you what, how far across that curb can you go before you pick up yourself a penalty? He's right out on the edge of the gravel as well.
Well, there wasn't any more road left back there, and here we go. And I think he's used a bit of push and pass. He's got down the inside, and he's going to pick him off. And there goes the professor, takes another one.
That was the defence too. A bit of a late lunge there, Caleb Hydes. We saw a lot of that in the F1 the other night, and I like seeing that. A bit feisty here in this S5000 series.
This is fantastic racing. It's like they're racing Formula 4 to Formula V's, the way they're battling and changing and diving down the inside of each other. So now here we're looking at Nick Bradford. Nick, another DFR driver. He seems to be just holding the train up a little bit here. So we're going to see Bailey Evans there behind him. Now Bailey's super fast in the F3 cars. We've seen him before. Can he put a move on Bradford here? Because Bradford sort of dropped the toe a little bit from SEAG, so I think we're going to see something happen here but it's all going to be down the front straight, because there's really nowhere else to make a move unless somebody in front of you makes a mistake.
And the push to pass, if that's what it was, but from Boda before, it looks pretty strong, doesn't it? Is it giving us a boost in horsepower? I think you said before, is there a DRS simulation?
The way that iRacing model it is, it actually just reduces the wing to the lowest downforce level, so you get a lot more straight line speed. But
we don't see that visualized, do we?
There's a tiny closing of see the little gap between the two. If you see the two rear wings, see the little gap between. If you see that gap closed, it's because I got the push to pass or the DRS open. But the way that's the visual change. The way they actually model it is that it just reduces the downforce level to as if you had the wing on the lowest setting, and that's the way it's modeled. But it works, and it works well, and I think it works better than the DRS system in F1, where it's got unlimited and they all just end up in a DRS train.
Yep.
This strategically only having 8 goes of a DRS, I think that's really good. I wish they'd bring that in F1 as well. And then we could see people strategically using it. And when do I use it? How many do I save up? It's a bit more like the IndyCar push-to-pass system, which I think is fabulous.
Yep. So for everyone, keen eyes out there, try and watch for that movement of the rear wing as we see Tim Delisle here holding off Julian Dunn, who's right up under his gearbox there and starting to put a bit of pressure on. Now, will Julian use one of those passes here? We'll probably find out.
We will. If we watch the rear wing, we'll be able to see that gap. See that little gap in the rear wing? If you see that close, and it's closed, so I think Julian's using a push to pass here.
Okay, yep,
yes,
you can see.
You can see it's definitely shut, so he's used a push to pass here.
And he's got through, so there you go.
And he's got through, so there you go. That's the difference. It makes quite a reasonable difference, and it makes more difference the more downforce you have, or the higher the wing setting you have on the car.
So we'll jump on board here, and we might be able to just spin around and watch that wing.
You probably see it on his dashboard too, because it goes to a little blue light when it's being used, but that's definitely shut. So there you can see he's running straight by.
There it is, open again.
I can see that Tim Delisle there didn't have it open because he still had the gap. So that's interesting.
Yes, it's very backwards talk when you talk about having it open when it's actually shut.
Yes, because a DRS system you have open, but this one you have it shut. And a Ty, who's in race control, tells me that is because what it does is aerodynamically stalls the wing, apparently. Right. That's what they used on the old FR 3.5. So I thought it was the other way around and I didn't understand it. So, but Ty, as usual, Mr. Technical Ty, who's awesome, put it straight and bit of a Google and explained it to me. So
yeah, Chris Swadling as well has just said drag reduction system on the F 3.5. The gap closes and it stalls the wing and reduces the drag. So there you go.
There you go.
Done fastest lap of the race, by the way. He's just crossed the line there, and a 1:26. And super quick, in fact, as he's now chasing after P2 Greg Olsen, who's not too far up the road.
So I think all these guys, I mean, we've got 10 rounds of this series. This is round 1, and they're all on these big Grand Prix-like circuits because it really suits the car and we're seeing some fantastic racing here at Barcelona. This is going to be a fabulous series. It's round one. If you're fifth place, Damon Woods, it doesn't really matter. Right now, you just need to get a result, get a good result, and build upon it. Damon's learned a lot tonight. He knows he's got to go and learn how to get it off the line to start with. Fabulous, fabulous qualifying. Half a second quicker than everybody, was just superb. But he's got to learn how to get it off the line.
It was interesting. He was practicing that in the warm-up, and then it went so bad for him. I was expecting to see all that practice and you'd do a ripper start, and all of a sudden he went backwards. And yeah, as you say, it'll only come down to him in his own time now between this round and next round. He'll probably do a couple of hundred of those starts.
I'm sure he will. I'm a bit of a fan of Damon Woods. I think he's a fabulous young driver, a real talent in Australian motorsport, backed by Australian. Now, I think it is Australian Aviation Components, which is his sponsor in Formula Ford. Great guys, friends of mine, fabulous people. And I think Damon's somebody who just needs a break. He's really, 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 really good. And to be able to jump out of a real car, jump into this and take it to the best in Australia in sim, well, yes, I am a fan. I want to see him get a break.
Yep, we're watching Rob Bowden again, P11. And Eddie Bestwick now up into the top 10. Moving forward, Eddie, so he's up 3 spots. Bowden up 7. And Yusuf as well, who had a shocker in race 1, is up into 14th. He's jumped up 15 spots in this feature race as well. So let's give him a little bit of airtime here in another beautifully turned out race car, and the Racecraft colours as well, beautiful.
Looks fabulous, and Andre's starting a couple of series with us now, and he's proven to be a real class act. Now, I don't know a lot about Andre. I don't know where his background, who he is, but I promise you I will find out for the next round, because he's really, really good. And I'm going to say also Eddie Beswick there, class act, 13th up to 10th. We've seen him, he just pops up. He's a quiet achiever. Another one, it's like a Rob Bowden, same sort of thing. Speaking of Rob Bowden, where's he gone?
Rob Bowden, still P11. As we look at Steve Jansen, who is up 14 spots into 17th as well.
I'm looking, 10 and 11 are missing off the leaderboard because of the... So that's good. I'm pleased Rob's still out there. The professor's still working. Marzocca's having a good little run there, up to 15th. And Phil Vella in his wheel tracks there. Look, there's only like 6/10 of a second between those two guys. So
side by side, Bestwick and Evans, just as Hydes and Bowden went side by side into the braking zone turn 1. A shout out to Miles Bond, just popped up in the feed there. I haven't talked to Miles for a long time, so hello Miles. He's cracking some puns there about will he get it done? Well, not tonight. And Rob Bowden modem is good to have Miles there in the chat.
I don't know whether he'll have it done, but there's miles to go.
Miles to go, and Miles is a sports sedan, a 2-litre sports sedan race car driver in the real world. Nice to have him just having a quick chat with us there. So g'day, and g'day to everyone that's tuning in here. Make sure you subscribe, Race Stars TV, YouTube. I think we're cracking nearly 300 subscribers now after losing our channel at over 1,000. So it's good to have you guys reconnecting with us, and it's great to have such wonderful series across this network. And I love what FRG have done this year with multiple series. We've got the F4 series as well coming up to complement the S5000 and the Formula Ford series. So Dave, it's a busy roster.
Yeah, next week we've got the FIA first round of the FIA F4. So that's an international series. I can't say a lot more than that, but there might be something leading somewhere in the future. But that's going to be a very, very cool series. And iRacing just signed a deal with the FIA, and the what was the IRO4 is now the genuine FIA F4 as of tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And also tomorrow morning we'll have Willow Springs, and we also have Aragon from Spain, a couple of new circuits coming along. iRacing continue to build their suite of product, and mate, we're all benefiting from it. I saw some vision this week where one of the boys here showed me some old Grand Prix 1, Micropros Grand Prix 1. I look back at that and I look at what we've got now. It's just amazing how far it's come in what is much more than 10 years, a decade, and we've now got legitimate racing in our bedroom. It's how good's this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I want to give a quick shout out to SDK, our overlay software. They've, continually giving us support, and the fact that we could set this series up, a new font for our timing screen, and they helped us with a couple of resizing issues last week, and always there to help. So fantastic if you're into broadcasting or even just for your personal racing and you want a nice overlay for your streams. SDK, they don't pay me to say that. In fact, I pay them a lot of money a year to use this software. But I just wanted to give them a shout out tonight because they do cop a bit of stick sometimes when it doesn't work. But yeah, they do a great job in the background. So thanks, SDK.
And because it's an officially supported series through Motorsport Australia, you'll see up in the top right-hand corner we're seeing some logos come through there: Who's Here Tyres, Newlon, etc. They're the genuine sponsors of S5000, and we want to give them some airtime in this world, and try and unite the online and offline a little bit. We're hoping that we might even see a guest drive by a couple of real world S5000 guys pop in somewhere during the season. There are 9 races to go after tonight. It'd be great to see them in here. But they're the real sponsors. Also, we've got to talk about Racecraft. Racecraft, John Lee. I mean, if you ever need a rig and you want something really, really good, talk to John. Those guys build superb rigs. They'll ship them anywhere in Australia, set them up, just fabulous piece of equipment. Go on to racecraft.com, racecraft with a K for craft, and John's out there doing laps. If he could be out there now, he'd be out there now. But fabulous crew of people. They run a whole sim centre in Perth with 6 or 8 rigs. I know he's just ordered all the latest responsive pedals, which are like $4,000 a pedal. It's just nuts. But that's John. He just can't help himself because he loves us so much. And that was a big sideways moment by Joshua.
Our race leader, and Dunn.
Race leader.
And Dunn is all over him.
Are we starting to see tyre wear here come into play? And we've got Julian Dunn on the hunt here for a win.
Yeah, looking good as we see the gap now down to 0.3 of a second. So that was a big understeer moment. He almost ran off the racetrack, Joshua Stewart. Was that a lapse in concentration?
I don't know whether lapse in concentration or whether they're just getting a little bit of too much heat in the tyres, or a little bit of tyre wear, or whether he's just being pushed hard. And I think that's probably the truth, is he's just being pushed hard. Julian Dunn trying to make amends for his little faux pas in the sprint race, but he's shown us what a class act he is.
Here we go. So will Dunn use that push to pass now? He looks like he's close enough.
Shot.
Yeah, so he's going for it. And it should be job done down into turn 1. So new race leader, Julian Dunn, who went backwards in race 1 as Bradford comes into the pits. You can now see Julian leading us up the hill for the first time tonight. So can he go on from there? Can he push forward? How much has he used up to close that gap to Joshua and then pass him? Will he have those tyres in good condition for the rest of the race? Obviously, 1 pit stop required tonight if we don't have a lot of safety cars. Will they take tyres in the pit stop as well, Dave?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
We don't know yet.
What we'll be able to do is, if we see him go for a pit stop, if you see his car go up in the air, like on gas jacks, then he's definitely taking tyres. If it doesn't lift up, then he hasn't taken tyres.
So we go right back to the rear of field here just to show some of the bottom positions and the gaps. Shane Russell, 29th, fighting here with Sam Mort. A couple of drivers well out of position. Scotty Barjan as well. Running 27th place, Luke Fitt 26th ahead of him. Damien Cairns on debut here, fighting Wills Will here with Luke Fitt. And that's for P25 at the moment, 26th. Ahead of them, you've got Will Ryan and Jacob Mabry. Christopher Ireland just up the road as well, up 11 spots into 22nd. But yeah, that's your rear field action. Plenty, as now Dunn has a 1 second lead. So he's pulled out a whole second on that lap.
Yeah, look, Damien's had the pace. He's had the pace since the first day of pre-qualifying. Every session he's headed, he was virtually unbeatable. I was quite surprised to see him back and forth 5th place on the grid tonight. but and then to make that mistake in the heat, not having gear on the line, drop back like that, and yet he's driven through the field to get back into the front. So, who's going to be able? And you'll see. The other thing is, Julian's used to racing this car, as is Tim Delisle, but you'll see a lot of these other guys who are not really used to driving this car. They will get better as the series goes on.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see some people come out of the pack. And I think, you got to watch people like even the Damien Cans. I mean, maybe 25th now, but if he's not 15th by the end of this series, I'll be surprised. The guy I'm surprised with tonight, Phil Vella. Phil's very, very quick in this car. He's back in 13th. He's pushing hard. He's doing well.
Hyde's off the road.
Caleb Hyde's off the road. But Phil's very consistent. We're going to see him. Can he get past Hyde's? Because he's about a second and a half back now.
Here's a replay of Hyde's. I think he's just got up on the curb here. Let's have a look from the overhead. Just snap on the entry there and then lost the back end. Tell you what, there's a lot of dirt on the racetrack down there as well from cars going off and bringing it back on.
These things have got a lot of horsepower, and they're pretty light, and they're pretty easy to break traction in the rear. It looks like he's just broken traction, and once it's gone, it's a really hard thing to drive. It's not like a Formula Ford that you can drive a bit sideways with the. It's got full aero. Once it breaks, it breaks.
Yep. So Delisle here, P3, up one position in this race. Currently nearly 3 seconds from the lead though, so he'll be seeing the gap open up as Dunn starts to walk away. A 1.8 second gap now between Dunn and Stewart. So he needs to be aware that if he can't catch and pass Stewart soon, he's going to kiss that first place goodbye, because there's no way you're going to catch Dunn if you give him a 4 or 5 second lead in the last half of this race, which we're almost at now with 27 minutes to go.
Well, I'm going to be surprised if anybody can really catch him now. Anyway, he's got to the front. And he's going to put his head down and really put in some fast laps, consistent fast laps, and try and break that gap, and demoralise the guy in second. He's going to try and demoralise Joshua Stewart and make Joshua say, "I can't catch him. I'm going to settle for a safe second." And that's what Julian's trying to do now. The interesting thing for me is the Delisle Olsen Woods, because there's 3 cars there. They're really close. Now, Delisle and Olsen are both teammates, same liveries, but Woods is sitting there behind. So he's got to try and break his way through that, what I'm going to call it, the brick wall in front.
Well, he's been catching as well. If you look at that lap chart, lap 15, 3/10, lap 16, nearly 7/10. So he's been reeling him in. He's now on the back of the teammates, and as Woods goes very wide. In fact, he followed Olsen there. It was almost, he saw Olsen go off the track and in sympathy went with him. But
we're pretty much at the halfway point of the race now. So, if you pit now, you've got lighter fuel for the rest of the race than you had at the start. So you could do a little bit of an early pit and try and put in some quick times on new tyres. Don't know how quick the new tyres are, or whether you leave the tyres on. If you leave the tyres and just fuel, then you're not going to go quicker, are you? That was a neat little move there.
Phil Wally, great overtake. And he
sliding
gets
through.
I think he might get him back in Mazzocca. He tried to.
No. The Simrigs guys, simrigs.com. Great people to look at again if you're looking for rigs. But the great liveries. Now, who have we got diving into the pits? Julian Dunn in the pits. Luke, we've got Julian Dunn in the pits. So the leader's jumping into the pits here. Now watch the car, if we can get coverage on that. I'm watching it on my other monitor. I will tell you whether, here we go. If he pops up in the air, he takes tyres.
He's had to reverse too.
He's missed the pits, and he's taking tyres. So that means there is tyre dig out there. The guys are having issues with the tyres. So he's taken tyres and a little bit of fuel. That was a very, very quick stop.
Costly though, costly. Yeah.
He missed his stop. If somebody else...
Spinner at the front.
That's Josh Stewart. These tyres are giving them trouble. He's gone right round.
Yeah, he saved it in the end. It's they do that. They jump on the brakes, these guys. In real life, that would give you a terrible flat spot, but they do stop them from spinning by jumping on the brakes. In real life, you're probably better to pirouette the car. You do less damage to the tyres, right?
pretty obvious that there's some really high degradation in the tyres out there, and they're really losing some grip because, we've seen Julian Dunn miss a pit stop because he locked them up and sailed straight past his pit lane, and we've just seen Joshua Stewart loop the car. So I think we'll see Olsen, Woods and Delisle dive into the pits pretty quickly because I think they're saying, I got to have some new tyres after seeing that.
Yeah, so it's almost like they're falling off the cliff here, but I tell you what, Delisle's staying out. He loves being in P1, and his teammate goes with him, and so does Woods.
Out.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about the man that had trouble on that lap? No, he stays out too. So Joshua Stewart, even after that big moment, he decides to stay out on the racetrack.
I love his name there on the back wing. I can see him from a mile away and know exactly who it is. What a great idea.
Most drivers have that, don't
they? Do that.
Yeah.
I love that. It makes it really good. Unfortunately, with this car, you can't put it on the back of the wing because of the way iRacing model the graphics. So, but you can put it on the front. That's really nice. Eddie Beswick there. It is red and black livery. Again, we're seeing that rear losing the rear end.
Just as I cut away, he was losing the back end of that car and kisses the barrier. P9 will drop down even further, no doubt. Caleb Hides goes through, and where's Julian Dunn? There he is. Julian Dunn, who's just made his stop now, moves up another position. So we'll have to keep an eye on that time. 22.6 seconds it is between Tim Delisle leading and Julian Dunn, who has made his pit stop. And as we can show on the pit strategy board for Scher and others, there it is. Dunn, the only person in the top 10 to have made a stop. That little bit of blue on the right-hand side at lap 17, marking that he has made a pit stop.
Like the way you cut away as soon as there was action there, it made it feel like the real thing. Yeah. It was awesome.
100%.
When you're watching the coverage, they always cut away at the wrong moment, don't they?
I'll sack the producer later. So as we settle in here with 22 minutes to go, they're going to keep running these guys out in front, aren't they? So Delisle, Olsen, they go again. The beauty about sim racing, and the real world as well, but these guys will be in communication with each other. They're probably just, looking at the times, whether or not they're smart enough to catch on with Dunn, and the fact that he's just almost got that under 22 seconds now. It is 21.9. So surely if they don't have a spotter, they've got to be aware of that. And Julian Dunn at this rate should come out back in front. And if he knocks it down another second, that probably pays for the little mistake he made in the box.
Yeah, and he's had fresh tyres on. So what's his lap times like? He's done his last lap there was a 27.1. So I don't know what these front three guys are doing, what sort of lap times they're doing, but Julian Dunn's last time was a 27.1. So when we get down to the start-finish line here, if they don't jump into the pits, it'll be interesting to have a look.
Well, there's your last lap time, so a couple of personal bests there.
27.3. Damon Woods, 27 dead, so he's flying on old tyres.
Yeah, there's a couple of personal bests there, which are
Edmonds,
why they're green.
Edmonds also there in 8th place on a 27 dead. That's extremely quick on these tyres.
So the green obviously representative of their personal best, but the overall best lap times, you can see there at 26.6 from Dunn down in P10. So a little bit of time available when he can actually put pedal to the metal and give it 10 tenths.
Julian's about to go across the line again, and I'll give you a time from him. We'll see it up on the board. But he's on a 27 dead, so he's right on that pace as well. But he's not going any faster, but he's obviously getting those tyres back up to temperature now. He's been into the pits, got new tyres, takes a lap or so to get them up to temperature, and we've seen what the cars are like on cold tyres.
Well, he's got it down to 21.8 now, so he's just chipping away at that overall time as well, which will be important when it comes to the pit stop phase for the rest of the drivers. Remember, so far it is only Julian Dunn that has made a stop out of the top 10.
When they do stop and they come out, they're going to be on cold tyres. So for a lap or two, Julian's going to have a fair advantage. Can he jump them? Can he get back to the front? Especially after that mistake in the pits. We've seen Julian make 2 mistakes tonight, which is so uncharacteristic from him. He is such a professional. He really, really is. And to see two mistakes like that just shows you the pressure and the quality of this field, that he's under that much pressure. We've got you're talking about probably 10 of the fastest guys in the country on sim. And here we go, Damon Woods diving down the inside, down into turn one. And Damon Woods has got second place. He's taken second place off Greg Olsen there. Nice move. And I'm sure that he used push to pass for that.
Yep, and he needs to get on with this. In fact, he's got that gap out to Dunn now, back to 22.3. So Dunn isn't setting the sector times alive right now, which he needs to do, because with that mistake in the pits, if Dalal, Woods, and Olsen can continue on at this pace, they may stay with track position into the last 15 minutes of the race. I predict they've got to stop soon, surely in the next 5 or so minutes.
Well, you would think so. We've got what, 15 minutes to go. I'd be surprised if they don't stop soon, because mind you, they're trying to run the fuel tank light and low. Less fuel in it makes them faster. Julian's refueled. He's probably got more fuel on board. Yeah. So we'll see them come around to the start-finish line here again, and we'll see again a set of lap times if nobody goes in the pits. Is one of these three guys going to jump in this time? Doesn't look like it. Looks like they're all continuing on again. And we're going to see here, we've got a... Couldn't see those times. 27.2.
You need a link to my live timing, Dave. That's what you need.
I'm trying to watch it off your screen, but it went rather pixely. So Julian Dunn there at 27 dead again. So I think that's exactly the same time as he ran last time.
Yep. As I link you to live timing, load that up, mate. They've done some massive improvements. If you can open that up in another window, it'll blow your mind. We've got a few requests here. Someone's pleading for us to show who's in 25th. Shane Russell's in 25th. Down the back at the moment, over a minute off the pace, unfortunately, and Barjan and Crespo, down there as well. Damien Cairns still in 27th as these guys just at the back of this field, unfortunately not challenging, but still pushing hard and enjoying themselves nonetheless, and that's what we like to see. No one's packed up and gone home except for a couple right at the back, but we won't mention any names. But we will stay focused on what's happening at the front, because these guys have worked hard to get there, and that's what we're showing as far as the action right now. Tim Dalal, Damon Woods, we're waiting for this pit stop to happen. Will it be this lap around? We're now down to 16.5 minutes to go, and towards the pit lane goes Tim Dalal. Here he goes, and Kyle Stevens saying there's a ticket timing across the top shows all positions. That's right, Kyle. That's why I put it up there.
So
yep.
This will be interesting to see. Can Tim stop on his marks, do a really quick stop? He'll have to take on less fuel because there's less of the race to go. And can he get back out in front of Julian Dunn?
Taking tyres.
He's taking tyres.
Here comes Dunn now down the pit straight. So
He's in the air for ages.
Yeah, Dunn's got him. So
Dunn's got him by a mile.
And Dunn's also going to overtake. Well, that's a back marker there. He's just gone by. So Dunn up into 7th, and yeah, long stop there. Dalal's come out P8, but a good, what is it? A good 2 or 3 seconds behind Julian Dunn.
Yeah, it looks like, I would say, good 2 seconds behind. So I'm surprised at that, considering that mistake by Julian in the pit lane where he overshot his pit. Yeah, I'm surprised that Dalal has not been able to jump him in the pit stop. So we'll wait and see. Now we've got Damon Woods out in front, and Damon's got clear road in front of him. How fast can he be? Because he's been super fast up the front there, catching, making his way through. Can he now go a little bit quicker and actually put some gap in these guys?
Well, his last lap was a 26 too,
really
so he did a 26.8 last time around, Dave. So he has got the speed, and Greg Olsen behind him is matching that, except for that lap where he was about 2 tenths slower, but a 26.9 again. If we look at Damon Woods' lap chart here for the last few laps, he's turned the wick up. He's done a 26 for the last 4 laps straight.
Yeah, so he's got a bit of pace. How far can he go? The tanks will be pretty low. Can he get enough? Can he make enough time to get ahead of Julian Dunn's just done a 26.7. So Julian's got the pace. He's a couple of tenths quicker than Damon Woods.
Ben Holko moves up into 8th now. He's up 16 spots yet to pit though, so we'll keep an eye on that with the pit strategy. Jason Siegs behind him and Anthony Mazzoka inside the top 10. I'm liking this drive by Andre Yusuf, P12, up 17 spots and has stopped for a pit. So that's a ripper of a drive for him tonight.
Yeah, and I'm seeing Reece Margetts is in the pits at the moment. He's just dropping down the chart massively because where he was on the road is a real close run load of people. His pits and everybody's going by, and that's when you're in such a close race, you drop so many spots when you're going for fuel.
So 13 and a half minutes to go. We're expecting Woods in, not this lap, maybe the next lap. He does another 26, and this time Stewart comes in though. So Joshua Stewart in the lane for his one and only stop. But Woods, Olsen both continue on. Burke and Edmonds. Now Burke's up into P3. I love this fact that Burke, I can't remember the exact position, but I think started around between 27th and 30th in race 1. Made up a multitude of positions, and now he's had a ripping race too. He's up to P3 on the podium, although he has to stop for a pit stop. So enjoy this while you can. P3 at the moment, Wayne Burke. Congratulations.
And yeah, what a great driver. But where could he be if had he got a good qualifying lap in and started in the first half dozen? Where could he be?
Yeah, because his pace isn't too bad. 27.2 best lap time, and that was on the last lap that he just did. So he's definitely got some pace in the car. I'll quickly show up those best lap times left-hand side of your screen, so you can just see, 27.2 puts him sort of down around that 8th or 9th outright pace in the leaderboard there.
And I've got to say that last lap, when you said that Damon Woods was in the 26s, it wasn't just in the 26s, it was a 26.7, which is only a tenth of a second off the fastest lap. So he's flying at the moment. And Greg Olsen there, matching him pretty much, 26.8. So those two guys are really, really running quickly.
And they're in the lane.
And the fastest man on the road is done.
Well,
So
this is the pit stop we've been waiting for. So Woods in, Olsen in, Burke's in as well. I presume Edmonds will come in as well. Yes, he does.
Now,
so Julian Dunn.
One taking tyres and one not, I think I saw.
So there's Woods leaving the pit lane. Dunn goes through into the lead of the race at full speed. And Damon Woods will come out in second. Delisle will get him though in the braking zone as he gets through a bit of lap traffic as well. That was some good positioning of the car. Woods goes wheel to wheel here with Olsen up the hill, and Woods will just get ahead of Greg Olsen. And nice job. They clear that lap car as well in the midst of all that. But now we're settled in for a run to the flag, and Julian Dunn has himself nearly a 2-second advantage.
Now, who was that lap car? Because I love the livery on that car. It looks fantastic.
We'll see if we can catch it on the battle box here. Let me have a quick look. Wasn't Damien Cairns in the mix of that, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Cairns is there, though.
Yes, he is. So great to see Damien having a good run around here. Yeah, okay, he's a lap down, but he's in the top 30, and that's not a bad effort from somebody who had a last-minute call-up.
Well, I tell you what, he's jumped out of the way there as P2 goes through. Woods will try and sneak through here as well. And Damien does a nice job to just ease out of the throttle there and let them through without any dramas. Now, Greg Olsen also just slightly getting impeded there by Damien. You should get him down the straightaway, though.
Pretty hard, as we saw in the F1 on the weekend. It's pretty hard to let people by in the middle of those two right-handers.
Yeah. And there goes Olsen now.
Now that car back just behind Damien Cairns on the road there, that's the car I want to see. It's fabulous looking livery on it. That one, that's it. Who's that? Marcus Konitska. Marcus, that looks fabulous, that livery. SWN. It's beautiful to see the effort the guys put in, the way they present the cars and present themselves, the helmet detail. It's fabulous. That's a good-looking race car.
They're good-looking cars all around, aren't they? These, they're a beautiful-looking machine.
They're a big car. They don't just look good; they really sound good too. You know, there was not somebody off the road.
There was a cloud of smoke there.
There was, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was Joshua Stewart. Josh Stewart's dropped it.
In trouble.
Dropped
and
it out of 9.
He's obviously got a damaged car because you can see it wobbling all over the road as he's trying to get it back to the pit lane, I think. So that's disappointing. Joshua coming off the pole there for the main event.
Now, I wonder if he had contact there with Cairns, because let's have a quick look at the replay here. Damien Cairns, I think, was Knitzker in front of him. Does Cairns go off track here and then make contact? Let's have a look. Yeah, look up the road. There it was. So it was contact with Damien Cairns, who dropped it coming up the hill, and unfortunately he's been caught up in that. So watch this. He gets up on the sausage curb, that throws him around, and then you'll see, bang, right there.
There's not much you can do about that, unfortunately, and the good thing is, in the real world, that we've got a safety car. We have a safety car out there. That's going to close things up. So
here's a look. Watch how little reaction time he gets here when, bang. So once more, we'll look from the other side of the car, but really, it's very hard for Cairns there to do anything else. He should have probably got on the brake a little bit harder, but the momentum of the car was always going to roll him back across the track right there.
Yep. So we're now in a situation where we've got about 5 minutes to go. We've got everybody's clear to tow, and we've got a safety car. So that's going to close the field right up.
There's the 009 for Storm Racing, who has been pleading and pleading and pleading for some scoppage and action. There he is, and he'll close up onto the back of the pack now.
Brought by T and W sponsors. So the green helmet's sort of fairly jarring in that orange race car.
009, but yeah, back with our leader. Now Julian, he'll be thinking right now, oh come on guys, seriously, my gap is gone. It's going to be a real fight to the end, and you know, you've got Delisle, you've got Woods there as well. Guys with, oh, look at our safety car, by the way. Yellow.
We got a safety canoe again.
Safety canoe. What was Rue's new nickname?
Aston.
Aston, that's right.
Because we figured if we called him Aston,
he shouldn't
remember his own name, and we'll be good next week.
So the yellow safety car out there, manually driven.
He's let those guys by because he's got to pick up the leader. So he's now picked up the leader of the race, and they'll probably, I would think, very shortly do some wave bys once they've got everybody back behind safety car.
Chris Swadling gives us the old no, Mikey, no.
I'm listening to Rue in the background giving instructions to the field. He's asked the whole field to stand by because I think it's stand by to take left-hand side of the road to allow the lap cars past on the right-hand side.
Neil Alexander says, love me a safety car. Well, I think we all love a safety car to spice up the end of a race. The drivers don't particularly like it, though, when their lead goes down the drain, though.
Julian's there just questioning Rue as to exactly what procedure he's got, how he's to run that restart, which is make sure things go smoothly. So he will wobble. Okay, we're about to do wave bys. So everyone who's a lap down will pass on the right-hand side. And then what will happen is once we get round, it'll probably another lap now. And then the yellow canoe will disappear off into the pit lane. Julian will take over control of the field. And then at his... whenever he decides he wants to go, he can go, and the moment he goes, Root call green, 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 and the entire field will be under green flag conditions. They don't have to wait till the start-finish line to pass. Think of it more like the restart on a virtual safety car in F1, where everyone gets to go at the same time. What it does is just trying to alleviate all that concertina effect that you get where people don't go away and everyone's sort of hanging back, trying not to pass until they get to the start-finish line, and it makes just a bit less, through experience in the online world, it just creates less accidents and incidents prior to the restart. So that's the way this works. It's a little bit different to the real world, but it's proved to be the best way to do it.
They'll need to get on with this.
Everybody gets used to it. Sorry?
They'll need to get on with this. There's only 4 minutes left in the race. And what was that lap under safety car? About 2 3/4 minutes to get a lap in there. So we will get probably a 1-lap dash.
How unusual, a 1-lap dash.
So we promised next round there will be a proper Aston Martin safety car in there, everyone. We've had a couple of comments there saying it's more of a banana than a canoe, and an open wheel safety car looks a bit weird.
I can't promise anything because I'm not in control of it. Aston is.
Aston is, righto. Well, we just saw the message from Race Control saying safety car ending. They will pick the speed up, so we're probably going to get a 2.5 minute lap here. But it's going to come down to the wire. We're at 3.5 to go. So, it could be a 2-lap dash. You're right on the line, I reckon. Good. Yeah. What risks will be taken, you know? What does Damon Woods in P3 think? This is the view from his car. Does he think, all right, I'll take a risk or two here to try and get the win? Or does he just go, right, I'm in a podium position, let's just save this, let's just take the points, and then we come back next round for the win?
I'd be sitting there going, look, I mustn't lose third place. If an opportunity arises, I'm going to go for it, but I'm not going to risk everything. And sitting on the podium, that's a pretty good start to my season.
Yeah. They look beautiful here. This fantastically produced iRacing circuit, one of the newer ones that iRacing has released here in the last few years. They do a great job, don't they? And the cars are looking a treat as well. So we back the field up now. The safety canoe is out of the way. Julian Dunn. Julian Dunn can now start to go through his sequence and what he needs to do to try and get away. Now, how many pushed passes are left in these trailing cars as well? I presume, unlike DRS, you can use them straight away when a safety car ends.
Absolutely. You can use it the moment the safety car ends. And you can use it before if you like, but it wouldn't be a lot of good.
So here we go.
And I think you'll see him go before he's gone.
Yep.
Really early.
And Woods is in a great position here. He's all over the back of Delisle. There's a crash in the background. So we've lost a few cars in the background that have got together way down in that second to last corner. But up the front, let's keep an eye on this as they wiggle their way down the straightaway. Look at this. Delisle being attacked here by Woods. Woods down the inside having a go.
Oh, brilliant move. Can he hang on to it? Yes.
Great job.
Great job. Obviously, both using push to pass. Now we've got the teammates on each other here. We've got Greg Olsen and Delisle going side by side. If they do that, they'll hold each other up and Damon will escape here. That was a beautiful move by Damon down into turn 1.
Yeah, and Dunn got away very well. Woods capitalising now the teammates. And then you've got Wayne Burke, P5. Wayne Burke's on for a top 5 tonight. What a great drive. And behind him, Yusuf as well in the top 8, up 21 spots. I want to give those two a shout because, gee whiz, they've pulled it back tonight. Congratulations. And we've got 52 seconds to go. We're 3/4 of the way through the lap. I reckon we're going to squeeze another lap in here, Dave.
I think we're going to squeeze another lap in too. And I've got to say, anybody in that top 10 deserves a round of applause because this is a real class field. Some incredibly quick drivers out there. These are the best open wheeler drivers in Australia, and look at these guys. They're at the front. They're side by side, but you see the room that was given. There wasn't anything happening. There wasn't any wheel banging. Damon's worked his way into second there. Beautiful move, and here we go again. And Olsen's got Delisle as well. Delisle's got to be out of push to pass.
Yeah, but Delisle's going to hang in there on the outside and try and push this through with his teammate. They're going to go wheel to wheel up through 3. And behind them, Burke's ready to pick up the crumbs if they put it to the weeds. Wow.
Burke's going to take a dive down the inside here.
He's having a look. He's got a lot of grip, Burke. And he's all over these two like a rash as he goes to the outside now. The long way around, that's risky.
Front on the outside, and he's going to try and over and under, but it's not happened for him. And this is all about pressure here. One mistake and you're going to drop 3 or 4 positions.
Dunn's gone. Woods has gone with him, P2, 7/10 between the top two, but they've checked out 2.7 seconds up the road. Unless there's a silly mistake there, they should bring it home for a 1-2. We will check in with, there he is, Julian Dunn. With only a couple of corners to go, he's looking pretty. Back further, look at this battle between Evans, Sieg, Jensen's in there, and Rob Bowden, P12, right on the back of it. But we've got to focus. We've got to focus on this guy. This is the guy that's going to win the race tonight, Julian Dunn. Through the final corner to take the checkered flag. There's crashes in the background, but we want to focus on this man who has driven so well in race 2 tonight. He takes the win. Woods gets second with the fastest lap of the race as well at 26.3. And Delisle comes home for a podium, P3. What a race.
That was pretty exciting at the finish. Those last 2 laps, there was so much going on and didn't know where to look.
Try and pick up that crash in the background. I think it was Luke Fitt was one of them.
So somebody locked a brake into that and just touched the back of the car in front. So there will probably be a penalty involved in that too, I would think. I think that may be Jansen in the white car.
Bowden was in that as well. Let's have a quick look. Another replay angle here. There's Rob. So up ahead, you can see, there's the contact up ahead. Bowden's going to, and Bowden goes straight into the back of the white car there. Unlucky.
Very, very unlucky. But I think Jansen will probably receive a penalty for that anyway, because it's straight in the back of somebody. He'll probably look at at least a 10-second penalty for that. So that'll drop him right out of the play if he hasn't dropped enough already.
Well, Julian Dunn is your race winner tonight. We'll have a quick chat with him shortly for the very first round of this S5000 official 2023 E-Series brought to you by Racecraft. And it will be good to hear his thoughts, and we'll be able to pick his brains about the start of that first race as well, which has probably cost him a double tonight. So we'll speak to the driver shortly.
I think my driver of the night's got to go to Wayne Burke. He's had a fabulous drive to come from so far back through such a class field to put himself right up there in 5th place. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant evening's racing.
So there's your race results. Julian Dunn, 0.6 of a second in the end over Damon Woods. Tim Delisle, your P3, with Olsen, Burke, Bradford, Yusuf, great drive up into 7th, Edmonds, Evans and Magetz rounding out your top 10. As we stand by for our drivers to come in for a chat, we'll just flick down through those results there so you can see your favourite drivers. We'll try and get them to enter their team names for next week. There's some unlucky ones there as well that have finished down the back of the order. But this guy on the screen in that beautiful Logitech livery, we've seen him race all different sorts of cars over, what I'm up to, 675 broadcasts now. I've seen him in probably 3 different types of vehicle, but you put him in one of these, you put him in an F3 for example, so quick, and tonight he's bounced back with that sort of speed in this brand new S5000 series. So yeah, look, what can he do for the series? Can he go from here and win it? I think we're going to have Damon Woods chipping at his ankles for the whole series. So anyhow,
and I don't think Damon's a regular in this car, so for an opening night display in this car up against Julian Dunn, that was a pretty impressive drive. So I think as the series goes on, we're going to see Damon Woods gain a bit more speed, and I think he might very well take it to Julian.
Well, let's have a chat to him now. So he's joined us. So Julian, congratulations, great win there. Nervous times at the end obviously with the safety car, but you made up for what happened in race 1, mate, with a fantastic win.
Yeah, that was pretty required. Race 1, yeah, that was average. But yeah, I got a really good start. The seas parted and it just kind of worked out, and then seemed to have a lot better pace than quali pace, and yeah, worked out well. Really fun race. Just got in the groove and kept going.
And what's it like driving these cars, mate? Do you have a lot of fun out there? Are they quick? What's the grip like? What's the hard things to manage throughout the race?
There's a lot to manage. Like there's the concern that a safety car will pop up a few laps from the end, which never really leaves you. But yeah, the strategy is a big one. You've got to kind of work out where the car's quick and for how long into the stint with the setup you're running. Obviously, they're open setup, so you can develop your own and probably put more effort into the race set than I did the quali set. Hence why I was sort of out of balance, I suppose, with the two. But yeah, there's a lot to think about, but you sort of, once you get in the groove, it sort of all just sort of happens, which is nice. So, yeah.
And we've got to ask, mate, what happened in race 1? Was it the fact of you're in neutral?
Yeah, I haven't looked back, but that wouldn't surprise me. I've not started this car that often, or not recently anyway, and so I did, a handful of practice starts in private sessions, but when it comes to it, sometimes you just forget everything and you forget to pull first, and unfortunately a lot of people suffered behind me. I don't know how I didn't have significant damage from that, but I think a lot of other people did, and I did apologise to them earlier. I apologise to them again here.
Well, it was a great race start. We're just watching a replay of that now, so well done. We'll come back to you shortly with some thank yous. Damon, great drive tonight, mate. P2, you sort of gave away the lead at the start of the first race, but you've come back for another podium, so a good way to start the new series.
Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a lot tonight. Unfortunately, I don't know how to start this car, being that my first race in any kind of open wheel like this. So there's going to be a lot of learning throughout the year, but I'm happy to start the season like this and take 2 podiums.
We saw you practicing those starts in the warm-up. It didn't work for you though, did it?
Yeah, no, I should have just used my my first strategy. I tried to use one of the settings in the options, and yeah, it did not work. I thought I was getting it okay in the practice, but obviously I didn't execute it very well in the race.
And Tim, finally P3. Congratulations, mate. Some great scraps out there tonight with your teammate as well. You must have enjoyed that.
Thanks. Yeah, it was good fun. I haven't raced this car properly for a long time now. So, getting back in the swing of things, and that was a great way to do it.
Well done, Dave. Is there anything you want to ask the top 3 before we go to some thank yous?
I was just interested in the tyre degradation because I saw you all took tyres in the pit stop. So tell us a little bit about the tyre wear.
Yeah, they wear. I don't know whether it's thermal or whether it's just actual wear, but if you've got a set that's quite sort of pointy at the start of the stint, you can pay the price for that later with a lot more rear wear. If you can kind of balance it out, then generally it wears fairly evenly, which is not always the quickest way, but I found the tyres are disguised by the fuel time that it takes to refuel, I think, mostly anyway. So yeah, it sort of makes sense to take tyres.
Nice job. Well done tonight, everyone. We'll do some thank yous, starting with you, Julian. Who would you like to thank for the win tonight?
Just my team, Altus, VRS, of course, Virtual Racing School Australia. We've got our feet on the ground here. We've got a local presence, so always good. Logitech G, thanks everyone.
Great job tonight. Damon, P2, who would you like to thank?
First of all, I'd like to thank eSports, VRS, Recaro Seats, JBL, Tailored Rig, Arima Sportswear, and finally SX Group.
Nice work tonight, P2. And then finally, P3 in our feature race. Tim, who would you like to thank?
PSR, my team, it's me and Greg, and the DFR guys have been working with them more this time around, and they've been great, particularly to Josh, who built a really nice set and was driving really well until he had an unfortunate incident.
That's your top 3 tonight. So thanks, boys, for coming in for a chat. Julian Dunn, your winner tonight. Damon Woods, P2, and Tim Delisle, P3. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Right, Dave, next week, let's have a quick look at my calendar here. We're back into some F4, isn't it?
F4, and we're at Laguna Seca, aren't we? Yeah. And then the second round of the S5000 in a few weeks' time, they're going to Hockenheim. So Hockenheim bring on the Grand Prix circuit in these. That'll be great to watch.
It'll be fantastic. So it's been a pleasure tonight. Big thanks to Rue and the crew, of course, Ty Ratcliffe and Lachlan Capel, but Rue Koistra doing such a great job in the background, as well as you, Dave. Thank you for everything you do for this series, all the graphics, everything. Thank you for my new beautiful Race Stars TV logo as well. Love it, and enjoyed commentating with you tonight. I know we're all buggered. It's a long day for everyone, but once the flag drops and we get into the swing of it, man, it's always fun.
Yeah, in fact, I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning, so we won't mention that. Yeah, Yelch is the word.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, beautiful. And thanks to all the viewers tonight that have been engaging in the chat, been watching all the comments. Great to see that community spirit and no one being a real dick out there. Everyone's just being really, really good and supportive. So thank you. And we'll be back in a week's time to do it all again. Thanks, Dave.
And hopefully with a safety car.
With a proper
Cheers,
safety
Luke.
car. Thanks, Aston. Yeah. So thanks, Roo. We'll get you there next week in the Aston Martin. And until then, good night.
Ciao.
Ciao.